All right, guys, what's going on? We're back on the podcast again. If you listen to the last podcast, I talked about coming out to Colorado to hang out with Chad. So, Chad, have you been on a podcast video yet?
No,
This is the first video that
I
you've
think
been
so,
on a
yeah.
podcast. I mean, you've been on other videos. So if you guys watch the New Zealand hunt, Arizona hunt, Colorado hunts, we've been on a lot of hunts.
Yeah, you got a couple others you're getting ready to drop.
Yeah. Chad's been busy. We're gonna talk about that today. We're gonna talk about kind of what we've been doing for 2024. I guess the season's really over, other than Frank's got his hunt coming up, which we can talk a little bit about that. But
And then we got Arizona.
well, that's 2025 though.
Well, yeah, but still kind of technically this season, I suppose.
Yeah, I was recording a podcast just talking about like the elections and stuff like that. So he's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
come out here pretty soon, and I was like, yeah, the 24 or the season's still going. We got a hunt coming up. I'm like, wait a second, that's 2025.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2024 is coming to an end. But so we're in Colorado, and we just got, well, Chad's had his new man cave set up, so we decided to do the podcast in his man cave. This is pretty sweet, dude.
Yeah, we're breaking it in today.
You guys can't see it. Well, you can see the caribou. Where's he at from me? Over here.
Back there, yeah.
So you guys can see the bottom of the caribou up there, but we hung his elk up here, his Arizona deer over here. Oh, you also can see the fallow. I can't figure out where my finger's at here, but the fallow antler up there too. The
From my wife, yeah. When we
Yeah.
shot New Zealand.
That's so cool.
So-
That's like one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
So you got a moose coming for up there,
Yeah, I got my Canadian moose I shot last year. I should have him any day.
and then our stags.
Our stags, yeah. So,
He's gonna go over here.
yeah, probably.
Do you think that's gonna be a little too close in there?
I don't know. I'll have to get him up there and see.
Gonna have to kind of maybe move things around a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's a sweet room. When did you finish this room?
Yesterday?
Oh, you literally just finished it yesterday?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I sealed the floor on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
That was the last thing that we did. And
So you
then
moved furniture in Sunday?
Sunday night, dropped furniture in here, and then I was in here kind of yesterday, setting up like the benches and stuff like that, and finishing up the safe door and just doing small little stuff, and then waiting for you to come down and help me hang the mounts.
Hang the mounts. We were sweating like crazy too, and trying to hang this big elk that he's got right here. It wasn't super. I mean, it's heavier obviously than a deer, but it was
Just awkward.
So awkward. We're trying to stand on top of these ladders because these ceilings are. You guys can't see the ceilings, but they're 14 feet high, and so we're trying to get up there to hang him up there. Like it was a bit rough, but that moose is gonna be.
Yeah, moose is gonna look good. Our stags are gonna look good.
Oh man. That's what I was just telling Chad before we hit record. Like I'm so excited to get those stags back. It's still gonna be a while, but
Probably next summer.
But they're here in the U.S. though. You said
Yep.
so. Yeah, that's kind of how we started off 2024 was New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah. It's
So
true.
we didn't go to Arizona this year.
No. Yeah, we missed the date on that, and then
Yeah, and if you guys missed the Arizona over-the-counter archery date, actually, if you missed the first 30 minutes,
yeah, they were gone.
they were gone. The tags for Arizona, it's crazy how fast they go. But we did get tags for that, so we will be hunting Arizona in January 2025. Super excited about that. Again, you guys can't see it, but Chad's deer is over here that he shot a couple years ago. Videos up on the channel. You guys can check it out. But we kind of wanted to recap 2024 and talk about kind of some of the stuff we've been doing lately. Chad and I did a couple podcasts during the summer when I came out to do some work out here, but we haven't had a chance to do a podcast since the hunt started. And so we wanted to just take a little bit and kind of catch things up. Chad's been on a lot of good hunts lately. So I've kind of heard the stories, but I want to hear a little bit more of the stories.
Okay.
I'm actually making videos of the stories.
Yeah,
right
say you're getting ready to drop some actual video content.
Yeah. So what was the first one that you had this year? What was your guys' first hunt?
Archery in Wyoming.
Okay, so you and Lee went up for
Yeah,
archery.
Lee and I
Wyoming.
went up
That was
to
the first
archery.
one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then I had my Colorado rifle hunt. So
And then you guys did the kids.
yeah, that wasn't such a good hunt. But
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And I had my archery hunt. So
Yep.
I did do a podcast on my archery hunt, so we probably won't talk much about that because you guys can go and listen to that podcast. But I also had Jaden's. Jaden shot his first deer this year.
Yeah.
And I have not talked about that on a podcast yet. I figured I'd wait till we were talking about it. So
Oh, cool.
we can kind of share some of those stories as
Yep.
well. But let's start with the Wyoming archery hunt. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Lee and I went up to Wyoming. It was just a general season tag we drew. We went to a place that we've been before. I was actually out there last year, and Yeah, it was. We were with an outfitter that I've known for a while, and yeah, we had a great time. I mean, we were, so we went the third week of September, I believe.
This year you did.
Yeah.
Last year, were you later last year?
No, I think we were the second week of September last year.
Oh,
Yep. So
and you saw quite a few bulls.
yeah, I
Last
mean,
year, right?
we had bugle and bulls every day, and it's a great area. The nice thing with this guy I know, so I grew up in Wyoming.
Yeah.
You know that. So just through some connections, I found this guy, and he's got a lease. Kind of one of those checkerboard situations where they've got some private mixed in with some public and all this and that. So biggest thing is just getting the access in there, and they've done a really good job. The guy that we went with, he's hunted this for 30 plus years, and he's had the lease for a while. So he's done a really good job of managing his hunters. One of his big rules is we don't hunt elk in their beds.
Oh,
So,
why is that?
the elk feel more comfortable
Oh,
in there.
kind of give them a chance to relax,
Yeah.
to get away from the pressure.
So they don't really
Makes
get
sense.
pushed out of the land a lot. So I think it just increases the quality of the hunt pretty good. So yeah, we had some great opportunities. So I was there with Frank last year, and then was there with Lee this year.
For some reason, I was thinking Lee went both years, but that's right. Frank went
No,
last year
Lee had went 2 years ago.
by
before-
himself,
by
right?
himself.
That's right. Before
Yep.
you guys went. That's right.
Yep. And so
And did you guys send an arrow last year at all? I remember you told me the story of when you
No.
were basically on the other side of the tree.
yeah,
from the
no,
bull?
I came to full draw twice last year. First evening out, I just wasn't ready. The bull stepped out and I wasn't drawn. And of course, as soon as you draw, they
I was gonna say
pulled out.
if he can see you as soon as you draw,
Yeah,
he's gone.
so that was just it was such an exciting experience. This bull,
bow hunting.
we called this bull in, and he came just crashing down, screaming at us, and and then the last evening last year, I had a bull, but he was kind of behind some timber, and I didn't have a really good idea on the yardage, so I just didn't feel comfortable with the shot.
Did he
Didn't
give you
take it.
could you see his vitals? Like you could
He
have shot it?
could. The timber was kind of like right here, and he was kind of right behind it. And so I'm pretty sure my arrow would have just dropped right over top.
Yeah.
But like I said,
It's hard to take those shots because if you're not super confident or just worried that something's going to happen, like
Yeah.
ethically, it's hard to take that shot.
yeah. And so I passed on that bull last year. So this was kind of my redemption year going back. I felt,
You've had a couple redemption years.
which one?
Remember, because you went out by yourself in Arizona.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The
Yeah.
year before I went. So
yeah, and then
in fact, I
I got
think
that
I
guy.
called that one redemption or something on the video that I posted
Yeah.
on our channel.
That's true. That was my second time in Arizona. So I'm
Yeah.
back, and so this will be your time.
So now it's my redemption
Your
year.
redemption year this year.
So this was your redemption year for the elk in Wyoming.
Yeah, but they still won. So not for a lack of opportunity. So they'll see on the video. I tried to capture as best I could on some GoPro footage.
Yeah, Chad did a really good job. It was kind of like solo hunter video.
Yeah,
and,
I mean it was tough, but Taryn wasn't there. I tried to get him to come.
but he didn't invite me, so
So it was kind of some solo filming on that, but I think some of it turned out okay.
yeah.
I think you've been through some of the footage on that.
Yeah, so that video actually may come out before this podcast
Oh, okay.
drops, because I have a podcast that'll drop this week. The video will actually probably come out Monday, and then this podcast will come out the end of next week.
Oh, okay.
So you guys actually, if you're listening to this podcast, you may be able to go on the YouTube channel and actually be able to see this story that Chad's telling.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we had a great hunt. We were out there for 5 days, and on day 3, I was lucky to really get into some good elk, and we had actually just hiked right up above camp, and there was some elk we heard them bugling back up in the timber, and this area we were hunting, some of it's been forested, and some of it is kind of a lot of blowdown. There's a lot of just some different terrain that we're hiking through, and so sometimes it's really hard to move through there quiet.
Yeah.
And so this particular morning, I mean, we had been in elk every day, but we really hadn't had any opportunities, hadn't really seen them. Actually, I think the day previous, and you'll see on the podcast, right at early light, we had bulls screaming all around us.
Yeah.
And we actually tried to make a stalk in on a bull and ended up getting busted by his cows. And we tried to catch them, and how that goes.
I was gonna say, once they're busted, it's so hard to catch them.
Yeah, it was so hard to catch up to them, even though they were still screaming and letting us know where they were.
Yeah.
So the next day, again, we're fortunate to get up into some elk, and the guy I was hunting with, Jeff, he's been a guide for a really long time, and we were kind of coming up on these elk, and he said, "Hey," he goes, "you're gonna think I'm crazy, but we're gonna move away from these bugles." And I'm like, "Oh, hey, I'll trust you, you know." He goes, "I know." He goes, "If these elk do what I know they're gonna do, they're gonna come down off this face and they're gonna cross over this meadow down below us." And so I think we should get set up on the other side of that meadow. And I had known this meadow was because I had been there before, and so I said, "Yeah, let's go." So we kind of bailed off the mountain, got down to the meadow, crossed over. Well, yeah, sure enough, as soon as we crossed over, we'd probably heard 4 or 5 bulls bugling up there, and you can tell, like, you'll hear a bull, then you'll hit another bull, and you're like, "Oh, that's the herd bull."
Right. You can tell by the bugle which
Yeah,
which.
and so we're like, okay, we know there's a good bull in there.
Yeah.
We hadn't put eyes on them yet, but they were. And as soon as we started moving up the mountain, we could tell they were kind of coming with us. So, so it was a good plan. And kudos to Jeff for making that call.
Yeah.
And so we got across the meadow just in time. We were kind of in the shadows and had a good wind. And sure enough, a bull, a rag. Well, he was probably a small 5. He wasn't a raghorn. He come busting off the hillside, pushing a single cow. I think he just stole that cow from the herd, herd. So they were moving across the middle pretty quick. I didn't really get a chance to even get on him. And then a solo bull came out, and I think you'll see in the video. I actually went back to full draw on him, but he was 75, 80 yards.
Yeah.
And he'd kind of stepped behind a tree. So I let down. He went up because we knew the herd bull was coming because we could still hear him chuckling up above.
And you can't see on that video where you go to full draw there.
Yeah.
And then you kind of. I was kind of wondering what happened because you pull the full draw and then it doesn't then he kind of walks through and then you let it down. So you're kind of like wondering what's.
Yeah,
what's
it wasn't a
going on.
great shot, but at the same time, I mean, I knew the other bull was coming. So, I mean, I didn't know where he was going to come out. And then, so luckily, he did end up coming out. And which was funny is he had a whole bunch of cows with him, but he came out trailing a single cow. But you could tell in the video, he was like right on her because she had to have been hot.
She was hot.
Yeah.
And you could tell that's all that he was focused on too.
It's all he was focused on, yeah.
He didn't care about anything else.
So we were trying to make sure she didn't bust us because she was looking around a little bit. But yeah, he ended up coming across the meadow and he stepped into an opening about 60 yards from me. And so I drew back and right as he started to move, Jeff's like, "Hey, as soon as he comes out opening, I'm going to cow call and stop him." And he cow called and I let the arrow go, I think just a hair too early. And it was funny because we were literally like straight in line from the sun with him. And so neither one of us saw the arrow. Like, you know how normally when you let go, you'll see like the arrow, you'll see it glimmer, you'll see something. Like Jeff's like, he goes, "I didn't even see the arrow. We didn't know where he hit." We heard it. You can hear in the video, you hear it whack.
Yeah. Well, in the video, it's hard to see the arrow too. Like you really don't.
Yeah. I think it's just because we were really, I mean, the sun was directly behind us.
Gotcha.
And it was like going right towards him. That's the only thing we could think because I have lighted knocks and everything.
Right.
And so to this day, well, fast forward a little bit, I don't know where I hit him. But
I took the video and maybe I told you this, but I took the video and I tried to slow it down to see if I could see where that arrow goes, and I have no idea where that arrow hits him.
Yeah.
But
so
you can hear it, like you said, you can hear it.
Yeah, I hit him pretty hard,
whack.
And my arrow was broken right where I hit him. So I shoot the iron wheel broadheads, and you could tell the broadhead was chipped a little bit. It had some kind of gristle on it, so it hit some bone.
You think you hit like shoulder?
Yeah, the only thing I think I did is I might have gone through both front shoulders and just straight through that cavity, that chest cavity, that brisket cavity where there's just nothing there.
No vitals.
No vitals. Because he bled a lot. Man. So you'll see in the video, like he kind of comes crashing back through us, and then he goes off in the timber and crashes pretty good. So this was pretty early in the morning, and Jeff's like, "You know what? We're not in any hurry. Let's just go back to camp, grab some breakfast because we weren't that far."
Right.
And like, actually we radioed some other guys and they picked us up on a side by side because we actually had hiked quite a ways. And he's like, "Well, we'll just come back in like 3 hours or so. Just let him. Hopefully he just expires and do his thing."
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we got back there. Got on a great blood trail. I mean, we had swaths of blood, which was encouraging.
Really? Yeah, I was gonna say that's.
Yeah.
Usually, if you got a big chunk of blood. Like,
I mean, well, like you could tell, like he was walking through the blowdown, and there would be like blood just all over the
just smeared.
just smeared on the thing.
Yeah.
So you could tell the way he was walking, he was bleeding out both sides. And we trailed him for quite a ways, and then got back into some timber again and bumped him. So he had bedded, but he got up and took off pretty good. So we're like, oh,
How many
man.
hours later was this?
Probably 4.
Okay. That's a given sign right there that he's probably not hit.
He's probably
mortally,
no. I mean, at that point, I think our only thought was he's going to bleed to death.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't stopped bleeding, and he was bleeding pretty good. I mean, they can only lose so many quarts of blood before
Right.
they're finally, yeah. So once we bumped him again that other time, we're like, well, we backed out, and then I went back the next day, trailed blood from that bed to where I believe he bedded overnight.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I followed blood all the way to there. I actually found 3 different beds where he'd gotten up and rebedded and then gotten up again. And then I think there was some other elk in the area because I could found a few other beds.
Did you have your Onyx tracker going on, like tracking
Yeah.
how far you were going?
Yeah, I did have a little bit.
Do you know how far he went from where you shot him to where you ended up stopped?
I think it was about 3 miles. Wow. Yeah. So at that point, and then when I found that bed, I mean, you could tell there were flies, and he had bled quite a bit in that bed. And then, but from there, the trail kind of dried up. So I think he slept there that night and then clotted up, and so yeah, he bled a lot, but I mean, it wasn't a fatal hit.
Yeah, it wasn't a heart or lung or liver or something like that. Obviously.
Yeah,
not
like I
liver,
said,
but-
it was at 60 yards, which I feel pretty comfortable with that shot. I
yeah,
practiced that shot
especially
a
on
lot.
an elk.
I practiced that shot a lot.
Yeah.
That's like my number one goal.
Yeah.
And I feel like I rushed the shot just a little bit. Jeff was kind of to my right a little bit, and he was kind of crouched down in front of me, and I drew. And when that bull stepped across, Jeff had a little bit better angle at him. And he was coming almost to where if I didn't move over, I was going to lose my shot. So I think that part of that played into my mind too. Like, oh, I got to let go now.
Yeah.
And you know, when those elk take a step, they can move a long ways.
Yeah, you're talking about that far, especially at 60 yards.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a long time for that arrow to get there. So yeah, it could be anywhere from
Yeah.
from a heart shot to a gut shot pretty quick. But
Yeah.
I don't know if he's bleeding that much. I wouldn't imagine it's a gut. Like you said, you probably hit him low.
No, and yeah, with the way the arrow was broke, and the amount of blood we saw, it just hit some cavity that just didn't. He was bleeding a lot, but he wasn't. And the guys never, the other, because the ranch is only so big,
You're right.
and so they're like, if he's on the ranch, he goes, well, if he's dead, we'll find him later because we'll see ravens.
Say eventually you're gonna find him.
Yeah, or during a rifle hunt later on.
Yeah.
And I never heard about it. So my guess is he was still alive out there.
Interesting.
But yeah, it was rough. I mean, that was the first time I've ever not recovered an animal.
Dude, that was the story of the year this year because that's
Yeah, 'cause-
exactly what I did during my
hit the
archery
same.
deer hunt. And I sunk that thing in. Again, I won't go over it in this podcast because I went over it in that other one, but sunk it in perfect. Like I could see the fletching sticking out exactly where you aim on a deer. And I was like, oh, dead deer. And he fell over, but I never found him.
Yeah, no, it's
Crazy.
wild. Yeah, when you texted me that, I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah. Wildest thing. Well, then when
Yeah.
you sent me yours, I'm like, man, this is
I
kind
know.
of ridiculous.
So our first 2 hunts did not start off great.
Yeah. Well, they didn't
Yeah.
get any better with Jaden's though.
That's true. Jaden did hit one too, didn't he?
Yeah. So Jaden, so this was his second year hunting. Well, I guess last year he didn't get a Utah tag. He didn't draw. We did go to Colorado, but he didn't get a shot off on
Yeah,
a
that's
deer
right.
here in Colorado. So this was his first year of getting a deer, and it was so fun though. You know what it's like getting these kids when they first start hunting. Like he was so excited and so ready to go, and Jaden doesn't get excited over. Well, you know Jaden.
Yeah, he's a pretty calm kid.
Yeah, he doesn't get excited over much. So as excited as Jaden gets, he was pretty excited about this hunt and going out. And he hunted hard with me. Like we went every single day, all day long. He hiked with me. Like he did really good. But my brother-in-law came to help us do some, just help us glass and whatnot. And so Jaden and I hiked off onto this other spot, and my brother-in-law stayed over just kind of by the side-by-side, and we were over there for like less than an hour. And my brother-in-law calls me. He's like, hey, I got some deer over here. You ought to come look at them. So we went over to look at them. And he's like, hey, there's a pretty good buck down in there. You guys ought to go kill it.
Yeah.
So Jay and I walked down in there. We could have shot right there, but it would have been like a 800-yard shot.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'm like, I'm not going to do that for his.
No.
He could have done it, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. So took my rangefinder out and found a little spot down there that was 500 yards from where we were at. So it was going to be about a 300-yard shot. So Jade and I kind of bebopped down there, got to that spot, and he was sitting right across the opening from us. So Jaden got set up prone on his bipod, had his backpack under, like just perfect setup. I said, as soon as he turns broadside, go ahead and shoot. And he's like, okay. And he had the scope all dialed up and everything. And he turns broadside. Actually, there was
What
two
yardage
bugs.
did you have him at?
He was at 350 at that point.
Okay.
So we didn't quite get down to, well, we were probably where we wanted to be, but
Yeah.
the yardages were a little bit different. So he was at 350, easy shot. He's shooting that 708 that I took
Okay,
to
yeah.
Alaska. I was like, easy shot. Go ahead and smack that thing. And there was a smaller one there, and I was afraid he was going to shoot the smaller one because it was like out in the open, and the bigger one was kind of back behind the trees. Like, you see the bigger one, right? I think so. I'm like, no, you see the bigger one. And because the other one was just like this little itty bitty little
Oh, okay.
little 2-point, and he's like, I think so. And then he stepped out and came broadside. It was kind of in the sun a little bit, and Jane's like, I see him. That's him. And he sat there forever, and then he started shaking.
Oh no, buck fever started setting in.
Bug fever set in. He's shaking. It set in with me too. Like I'm getting all nervous for him.
For
like,
him, yeah, because
like,
you get more excited for them.
I
yeah.
was so excited for him. Like it was so awesome. So he starts shaking, and he's like, Dad, I can't shoot. I'm shaking too bad. I was like, okay, well just hold on. Like he's not going anywhere. He's feeding across this opening from us.
Take a breath. Take some time.
Yeah, if anything, he's going to come into the opening more and feed into the opening, because it's evening and he's coming out to feed for the night. And so he did. He finally settled down and he stopped shaking. He's like, okay, I think I'm good. So got back on the gun, set up, and as soon as he turned broadside, Jaden shot and just thumped him. And from our view, I thought he went down because he kind of went, like, it looked like he fell forward because he kind of went up and then fell forward. And I was like, oh man, that's a perfect heart shot. Like he's gonna go down into that and die. And so we kind of just sat there, and the other one just stood there and watched. And then so I called my brother-in-law on the phone. I was like, hey, did you see it? And he's like, yeah, he's still alive. I was like, what? I was like, he just smacked him. He's like, yeah, he hit him hard, but he's still alive. He's like, see if you can get another bullet. I'm like, we can't see him. So we got up and went over to the right a little bit, and probably went about 100 yards. And as we got over there, then we could see him in there, and he saw us too, and he bounded off. And I was like, Jaden, get another bullet in him.
Oh wow.
And he was a good buck. Oh, he was about like that right there.
Yeah.
A really
good 4-point.
Yeah, really good
So
4-point.
did you get on video? Like, did you see where you hit him?
I didn't. So I didn't have my spotting scope or anything with me. I should have. So I didn't get any of that. I was terrible on Jaden's hunt with video. Like I did not get much video at all, which I kick myself for doing that or not doing that. But yeah, we went over there and tons of blood. I mean, just like your elk, just blood. And like he had smeared across bushes. And I was like, oh man, he's going to be around this tree. And then around this tree, we ended up tracking him for about 3 or 4 hours, clear like into dark. I think it was about 10:30 at night when we're finally like, all right, we cannot find another drop of blood to chase him. We went into this really thick scrub oak, and I was like, we tried. We looked for him forever. We came back the next day, tried to find him again the next day, never could find him. So
that's too bad.
yeah, and this was like the 3rd or 4th day of the hunt, and so we had a couple more days to hunt, and finally the last day of the hunt, well, him and I chased bucks, really good bucks, kind of similar, every single day of the hunt, and it was the last day of the hunt. We chased a good 4-point that morning, and I don't know did I tell you a story about those guys shooting over our heads? So there's this 4-point up on the mountain. I'm like, Jane, let's go kill that deer. It was perfect setup. I was like, we can get in within 100 yards of him.
Yeah.
So we hike up the mountain. It's a pretty good hike. So it took us probably 15, 20 minutes to get up to where we could see him again. And we saw him. We're like, okay, we're going to keep moving up here. And as soon as we dropped off to keep going up the mountain, all of a sudden these shots came over the top of us.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And my brother-in-law wasn't with us that time. It was just me and Jaden. And then as soon as those shots came, deer just went scattering everywhere, So we're like, well, either he's dead or he's gone.
Yeah.
So we go back down, and there were some guys that were down by our side-by-side that were kind of watching the whole thing. I was like, do you guys know what happened? Like, were you guys shooting? And they're like, no, there were some guys over there. And they're like, we kind of ranged from where they were at. They were shooting about 1,300 yards. Like, are you kidding me? And I don't know if they were trying to really kill it, if they were just trying to scare it so that we didn't kill it, because hunters.
Could they see you guys?
Yeah, because these guys were where they were at to start, and they could see us kind of going up the mountain, and we were going right after that buck. There was actually 2 bucks in there.
Some people, man.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
too
Jaden
bad.
was a little bit bummed. So I was like, hey, let's just go for a ride in the side by side. We'll have lunch. We'll just enjoy our last day of the
Yeah.
hunt. I kind of didn't think we were gonna get one. So we're driving just in this new area that we hadn't been in, and I'm not kidding you. Right off the side of the road, I'm like, Jaden, shoot that buck. He's like, what? And he looks over. He's like, oh. There's just like this buck off the road,
Really?
not very far, just laying underneath a tree. And I was like, shoot that buck. So he gets out of the side by side and gets off the road and gets set up and boom, shot it. That's the thing is he was shooting so good.
Yeah.
Shot. It was kind of laying down and kind of facing away from him a
Yeah.
little bit. So I was like, you're gonna have to go back a little bit. He did perfect. He went right in front of the back leg and it went right into the chest cavity. Blew up the heart. Like,
Oh, wow.
just perfect.
He didn't go
shot,
very
so.
far.
No, he did get up and he came around the side by side and then died on the other side of the
Oh,
side
really?
by side from me. But I could back it up to it and load it in, so it was perfect.
Oh yeah, that worked out really good.
So it was a cool buck. Not a big. It was still a 2-point, but it was a good size 2-point. But he was excited.
Oh, he's tickled to death.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
he don't care. Yeah.
So happy to have a good buck. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that was my excitement. But again, had to track a bleeding deer that we never found. So kind of just I don't know. The theme for 2024 was tracking animals.
I know. And sometimes it's hard. It's so hard.
It
'Cause the
is.
last thing you want to do is hurt an animal, and you want to make it an ethical kill.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
That's hunting, honestly. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what Jaden was like, am I done hunting? And like for me, when I shot my archery deer, like that was it. Like I was done. But
Yeah.
it's his first year. He's never shot one before. I'm like, no, we're gonna keep hunting. We're gonna see if we can get you a deer.
Yeah, that was me too. And I shot that one. I was like, well, I'm done. I'm just gonna keep trying to find them. I kept going out every other day. I'd wait till the guys had come back from the morning hunt, and I'd go out and try to track some more blood. And
But it's kind of you basically feel like you punched that tag.
yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
Yeah, one evening, Lee and I went out, kind of in the general area that we had last tracked my bull at, and thinking, well, maybe he's got to go to water.
Yeah.
Bleeding that much,
Yep.
And there's only a few places where there was some water, and so, but no, never did find nothing. So
how big was he?
he was a decent 6.
Okay. I mean, I could tell that he was 6 in the video, but I couldn't score him. Off
No,
of it, you
yeah,
know?
I don't think he wasn't a monster, but he was a herd bull. I mean, he was a good bull. I mean, for an archery, especially a general tag like that, I mean, I would have been very happy.
How did you get that tag 2 years back to back? Is it one that you can draw? You can get
Yeah,
frequently.
so we don't know yet. So Wyoming just changed their general draw, right?
Right.
This year. They divided it into 3 sections.
Right.
So nobody really knows how many points it takes. We're assuming it's about 3 points. So I did put in for the special
Oh,
tag.
that's right. That's right. Okay.
So I did
remember
put
how
in
you
for the
did that.
special, but then the way he does it out there is when he gets a lot of the hunters, he gets guys with like 20 points. And the nice thing about Wyoming is it averages your group.
Right.
So we just told him, we said, hey, if you got room for us and you got the points, we'll come back next year.
That's right.
And he said, oh yeah. And then he, right before the application time, he called us up like in March, I can't remember, May, whenever Wyoming applications were due, and said, hey, I've got a couple spots you guys want to put in. I'm like, yeah, do it. So
It'd be interesting to know what that point number is because now.
yeah, I was talking
I've got a lot.
I was talking to Stuart, and he's gonna he wants to try to figure that out too.
Yeah.
It's just hard to figure that out because
Well, when you're dealing with those kind of numbers, when someone's got 20 and someone has
yeah,
1,
Frank had some guys that he was talking with that were hunting the wilderness outside of Du Bois on the western side of the state.
Yeah.
And he said they thought they drew with 4 points.
So I
over
could draw
there.
I could draw that tag right now.
Yeah. Well, we might go back there in a couple of years. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Going back there, because we're going to Alaska in September, but it'd be the following September.
Yeah.
So in 2 years, because then that'll allow you to get 2 more points.
So then I'd have 8 points. I think I've got either 6 or 7 now.
Because you bought one this year, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so then obviously we'd put in with you, and then
Average out. Hopefully it averages all out at 4.
Yeah,
be
and if
able to
he's
go.
got someone else, because he gets some out-of-state hunters that come in there with like 15 points, and they only need 3 to draw the tag, and so
That's a sweet deal.
he can do that and get some guys, other hunters in there.
Nice.
So yeah, he plays the point game.
That's your advantage right there. I mean, to be able to go
Yeah.
back there 2 years in a row.
Yeah, no, it's a cool area. Like I said, it's back home where I grew up, and I really like going out there and know a lot of the people. And
Yeah. I've never hunted Wyoming, so I would like to just hunt Wyoming it's
Yeah.
just fun hunting different
yeah,
states.
well, and if it doesn't work out for us to go back with Stuart in 2 years too, Frank has got some pretty good intel on that where those other guys were at.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and so it's a little different hunt. That was grizzly country, but
We'll be ready for that.
Yeah.
Grizzly country will be normal for us at
after
that
Ask
point.
Alaska, yeah. So, but we have that option too, potentially. So we're looking at that. But I think it'd be fun. You'd love that camp. Those guys are great.
I'm gonna say just from the video, like putting the video together,
guys are
like
good.
I'm sitting there just like jealous, like
Yeah,
just to be in. I mean, the hunt's fun, but like just being in camp, being part of that environment, like it's so cool. Even if I could just video, like that would be awesome.
oh, you're supposed to come out.
I know. I had to go to Montana.
Is that when you went to Montana?
That was the week I had to go to. Well, I was gone. What, 3
Because
of-
you were going to
3 of the
drive up
5
Sunday night and
days.
pick up that elk from me
Yeah, so I was gone the first. You went out Thursday, right?
Thursday. Yeah.
So I was gone. Thursday and Friday. Well, I was in Montana Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of that
Oh,
week.
okay.
So I flew back Friday night, and then so I could have come up Saturday and Sunday, but I can't remember why I didn't do that. But well, tell us about the Colorado elk hunt.
Yeah, that one is
Now
a fun
that-
hunt.
Yeah, now that one, that's a real hunt there.
Yeah, that was a fun hunt. So, yeah, so I had 9 points and drew a trophy unit here in Colorado.
Yeah,
So
pretty coveted unit. So
yeah, so I was excited about that hunt. Went with 2 other buddies of mine, a buddy that I know from work. I've hunted and fished with before, and Ron, and then Martin was another buddy that I play softball with quite a bit. So we had just gotten to talking and realized that they had points, I had points. It was all working out. Lee was going to draw that tag too, and then when he
oh yeah, what happened to him?
last minute he went and checked his points and he only had 6
Oh,
or 7 or something.
that's right. That's right. I remember that now.
Yeah. So anyway, because it took 8 or 9 to draw that tag this year. So that was the first rifle hunt. So we were up there and went with some really good guys. So the country where we were hunting was really, really rugged and steep. So you could be successful in there on foot, but really you need horses.
I was going to say, to get where you need to get to, you probably need horses
Yeah.
at least to get to that. At least do a drop camp.
Especially where we were hunting because it was so dry leading up to that and warm. All the elk that we found were at tree line
Wow.
or above.
Wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't like, it wasn't, yeah.
So a lot of our listeners don't know like first rifle, second rifle, third rifle for Colorado because they haven't hunted Colorado. So like,
Okay.
what are the dates of first rifle?
First rifle this year was October 8th, I believe.
Okay.
And
it's a 5-day?
It's a 5-day hunt. So it starts on a Saturday, goes to a Wednesday.
Okay.
And then usually second rifle starts the next Saturday.
Okay.
So there's like a week and a couple days off. And second usually goes for a full week. And then third goes the next week.
So really none of the rifle hunts in Colorado hit the rut.
No, but
When we went to our over-the-counter unit, I guess it really
First
wasn't
rifle.
it was first rifle.
Yeah.
They were at the end. I mean, we heard a couple bugles on that one, but
so I heard a ton of bugles.
oh, you did hear a ton.
Oh man. all the
Actually, there's
time.
a video. You have some video of that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So that first, and it just depends on the weather. Because you
Yeah.
and I went back to that same spot that you shot your bull that one year, and they weren't bugling at all.
No, that was such a
But there
terrible
was
year.
snow and man, I mean, I think a lot that has to do with the weather and
Yeah.
what happens. This year was so dry. I think the rut was later. Or even the second rut.
That's true. It did they did have that second rut where they kind of kicked in
Yeah.
because it was so hot and dry for so long, and then it finally kind of cooled off a little bit.
Yeah.
At least in Utah, that's what it did, and then they kicked into the rut a
Yep.
little bit.
Yep. So we were camped at about 9,000 feet, I think.
Wow.
So we were up there. It was probably from the trailhead. We were back in there probably about 5 miles, I guess.
And this was one that I wanted to go on or was going to go on, but just didn't have the room for me to, because I was going to go
Yeah.
and just
So
be the
yeah,
videographer.
I'd called the guy and said, "Hey, can I get a non-hunter in there?" And he one of the other hunters that was there. So it was us three and another hunter. So it was 4 hunters in camp.
okay.
His dad was with him.
Oh,
And what his dad has done with all of his boys, I found later, he's been buying them points since they were little, and then when he gets older, he buys them. And they're from out of state. They're from Pennsylvania.
oh, geez.
So he burned 20 plus points on that tag from out of state.
Whew.
Yeah.
He got one though too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
I keep ruining your story.
No,
so
no,
keep
you're
going,
good.
Keep
Hey.
going on the story.
No, that's yeah, you gotta get details. So yeah, we were cut about 9,000 feet, and then yeah, so that Friday we got up there, and we went up that evening and started scouting. And I mean, right out of camp, we walked up on the hill, and man, we had elk all around us. Man, it was crazy. So opening morning, what we decided to do was Martin and Ron stayed down around camp to go after a couple. There was a really nice bull. I think I got video of him.
The one that's off in the distance.
Yeah, he was a long ways on my.
He was a nice bull though.
He was a nice bull. So they were going to try to get on those, and then me and the other kid, they took us up above camp. There's they call it above camp, and so we went up there, and it's probably about a 5-mile pack ride. So it was a pretty good amount. We got
That's a ride on a horse.
it's a ride on a horse, yeah. So we were up there a long ways, and so it was a really kind of a cool area. So we were camped kind of on the side, and then you'd take the horses up there and get there. But once you kind of got up on top, there's kind of this big open area.
Kinda like a plateau and
Yeah, but it's just it's massive. Like it doesn't even. It's hard to describe it. And then you kind of get over, then it goes up a little bit more, then it just hits rocks, boulders.
And you can see that in some of the videos.
And some of the pictures I took of
Yeah.
And so kind of some big open parks, play areas, stuff like that, some good meadows. So we got up there, and we actually got up there a little bit later than I would have thought about it. But we got there, and we get the horses tied up, and we immediately start hearing elk bugle. And so we kind of start going through the timber, working over towards these elk, and we got within about 40 yards of a bull, and I never actually saw him, but the guy I was with, he goes, yeah, there's a bull right on the corner here, and we could, and he I think we busted him or something, but he moved off, and so we kind of kept working our way around, and there was a tree he was just raking, going after it. And there was probably, I think there was 4 bulls that were going. There was the bull kind of with all the cows, which I was kind of going after. Then I had this other 6-point that was up kind of across the meadow from us that kept working his way in and out, but he was a solo one. But he was a solid 6. And then there was another bull screaming that was in the timber more that we never did see. But he was kind of following us too. And so what's kind of crazy is, and I mentioned it's hard to catch elk.
Yeah.
We were hustling. Like these elk were feeding away from us, and we never really busted them enough. I mean, we'd get close, and then they'd move off, and then we get close, and they'd move off. And but they kept, they were screaming, they were moving. He was moving his cows, and we covered, oh man, probably a mile or 2 on foot chasing this herd. And we'd come up over the crest, and they'd be out in a meadow, and I'd get down on my gun, I'd get ready, and the guy I was hunting with is like, hey, he goes, that bull out here in the middle, because there was a couple other satellite bulls with him too.
Right.
He goes, he's a 5x6, but he goes, he's bigger than that 6x6 that's over there.
I was gonna say, I don't. If it's a 5x6, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna shoot it.
No,
There's
and
a
so he
big
goes, what do you
five.
want? He goes, you want a 6x6 or the 5x6? I'm like, whatever we get an opportunity.
I just want a big bull.
Yeah, because this 6x6 kept coming out, and I had a shot at him a couple times.
But he was smaller than that 5x6.
Yeah, that's what he said. But so I was kind of just trusting him on, because I never really got a good look at the one bull I was chasing until I shot him.
Yeah.
And so we kind of kept chasing him in there, and then of course he was in his cows, and he was moving and pushing cows around and all this and that. And so I'd get set up, and I'm like, I don't have a clear shot, I'm just waiting. And so finally, at one point, we got set up behind these trees, and he was just over the ridge, and you could see his antlers, and he was moving around, and he finally came up and gave me a shot at about 180 yards. And so hit him, and he turned. I reloaded another round, and by the time I got the scope back on him, I saw him hit the ground. So it was pretty exciting.
It's amazing how quick that all happened.
Oh, I know. It's just, and it's amazing. Like
10-day hunt.
it was crazy because when we had to go back and get the horses. and I'm hiking back. And I'm like, man, we're a long ways
We
from
went
the
a long way.
horses.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much land you can cover when you're chasing elk.
Oh man.
Miles.
Yeah. When you get going, and especially if they're right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can go forever.
Yeah, and so we kind of kept, we were staying in there, trying to stay out of sight of them. We had good wind, and we'd get up there, then they'd disappear off to we'd move up again. And
Yeah. When you text me and said you had to bowl down, I'm like, that was fast.
I know, 8:30 opening morning.
That's so crazy.
I was done. Yeah, so it was kind of those bittersweet things because you're like, you've been waiting for this hunt for so many years. Then you get that opportunity, and
I know and I love hunting, but a lot of people are like, no, I want to wait to the last day of the hunt to shoot something.
No.
That is not me.
it's not like they're tied up waiting for you.
Exactly.
To pick which one you want to shoot.
Like if you find one that you want to shoot opening morning, smoke that thing and be super happy with it. Like when we come out here to Colorado, like everybody knows that Taryn's going to shoot the first deer because I'm going to find my deer on the opening morning.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shoot it and then I'll spend the rest of the time helping everybody else. And I love doing that. So and that's what you ended up doing, right? You kind of just stayed and
So unfortunately for me, because Martin and Ron did okay down below, but they never really got on the elk, and the elk kind of disappeared out of that area. And so everybody was hunting up on high at camp. So because of that and because of the horses, I had to stay back at camp, so I wasn't able to really hang out with those guys.
Oh, really? So you just stayed at the camp
Yeah.
pretty much the rest of the hunt, huh?
Pretty much.
Just looked at your antlers and just
Looked
just
at
was
my
so
antlers. Yeah, took a few naps. It was a long few days.
Did you become the camp cook?
No, but I got to know him real well. Because it was pretty much he and I the whole time.
Oh man.
Because it's hard on those horses to go
Yeah.
up and down those trails, and so they were every night they would come back, they'd rotate stock and then take up fresh horses the
that's
next
a good
day.
idea.
And so all the guys were hunting up there above, and Martin ended up shooting his on Tuesday. He actually shot his above tree line. So
Really?
they hiked way up above, and so a lot of times you get to tree line, and then there's above tree line. You usually have like some scrub of I don't know what it's called.
Mahogany or something like that.
Yeah,
that's
the
up there.
reddish
Yep.
kind of stuff. Yeah, so the elk were hanging all up in there, and he actually ended up getting up on top of some cliffs and shot down on a steep angle at his bull.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy. They were that. What were the temperatures?
it was getting cool at night, but it was. I mean, during the day it was jacket weather.
Wow.
But
That's
there was
crazy in
no
October.
But there's no snow.
Right.
And those elk, it doesn't matter. It could be below zero. They won't move out if there's no snow.
No.
Yeah.
No, that snow pushes them down. So that's crazy though. Like you think in October, those tall mountains in that area, like it would push them down out of the snow.
Yeah,
on
there's
them.
no reason, and if you saw the country these elk were in, I mean, there's no reason for them to leave.
No, it's beautiful. So I haven't dug into that video, so that'll be another video coming out for you guys to watch on the YouTube channel. So make sure you guys are following and check that out when it does come out. It'll probably be mid-December before that one comes out. But so I haven't really had a chance to dig into that one. As you're telling this story, I'm learning a lot as you're telling this story. The
video.
Wyoming one, I'm kind of like watching the video in the back of my mind as you're telling the
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
But so this one, I've started into this video. But yeah, the country.
I think we got some pretty good. I think we got some pretty good audio.
Yeah.
And video on that one.
They were more like involved in it. Like people wanted to talk during that one. It seemed like more than
and Martin and Ron and the other kid that was there, they were excited for the prospect. They're like, yeah, we'll record stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, if you guys record it, and so they all dumped their content into the Dropbox folder.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, but you can kind of hodgepodge some of that together and get it decent.
I think there's really good footage in there. I think it'll be really cool to have that.
Yeah.
To put out. I'm really going to take my time on these. That's why the Wyoming one's taking a little bit longer.
yeah.
Is just do a little bit, the best job that we possibly can to make it the best for the people watching. So they'll be cool videos, something to keep for a long time. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good hunt. I mean, we ended up 3 for 4. Ron, he had some opportunities, but didn't end up taking an elk. So he actually shot a couple times and had some clean misses and kind of got frustrated with himself a little bit, which was too bad. So, but it was a great hunt. I mean, yeah, some really good bulls. Martin shot a really nice big 6x6.
Yeah, that's a nice bull.
Yep.
His was a big bull.
Yeah. I mean, the bull I shot, we aged him out about 8 or 9 years based
Wow.
on his teeth.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
We actually think he was digressing.
I was gonna say he must have been falling back.
Because you can see on his side where he's got that big 5. There's a bump there where it was probably a 6 last year, And then, there's just some things you could look at and say, yeah, he's an older bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, even when I took him to Ed to drop him off, he looked at me and said, oh, yeah, he's an old heavy bull. So, which is kind of cool.
Did you put a heck of a shot on him? I know it was only 180 yards, but like perfect shot on that guy. Like,
Yeah.
Like you can see right on the video, you can see like where the bullet you know, went in. And,
Yeah, he was quartered slightly away, and same thing. I kind of just put it a little bit back, and I mean, straight through the lungs.
Man.
Yeah, because I mean, it was the blood was just bubbling out the one side.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
So
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, it was a good hunting season. We had a good time this year. I don't think we wasted this hunting season. I think we put on a lot of days.
yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was some good hunts that we looked forward to for a long time, and next season is going to be really fun too.
Next season's going to be a blast.
So we've got Arizona in January.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to Canada for bear in May,
Yeah,
and then September will be moose,
yeah.
and then I don't know if we'll have anything.
I'm sure there'll be other deer hunts thrown in there.
Deer,
you
elk,
know.
of some sort will
Yeah.
have tags.
Colorado, Utah. We got to get you out to Utah. We got to start getting your points built up out there
Yeah.
so you can come out there. But
Come out there with you guys.
yeah, next year's going to be pretty wild.
Kyle should draw a deer tag next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he should. Where we hunt up here. Yep, he's got 3 points.
Oh,
for
by the
that.
cabin?
Yep, where the cabin used to be.
Nice. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't killed one yet, right?
No, it'd be cool if you guys could
man.
come out for that.
Let's say Jaden and I, because Jaden won't draw next year
For Colorado.
for anything. Well, we might draw Colorado. Depends on where we go in Colorado.
Well, we should see. You guys should. I should check the non-resident points for that unit
Yeah,
because he might.
I think it's high. I think it takes quite a bit.
Yeah,
in
I guess
that
if
unit.
it takes a resident 2 or 3 points,
Yeah.
probably take you guys.
I think
That'd be
non-resident
fun if they could
was-
do that together.
That would be fun. But even if nothing else, Jaden and I ought to come out and go hunting with you and Kyle.
That'd be
I think
fun.
Jaden would love that to be with Kyle for that.
And that's such a cool area. We know where the deer are.
Yeah,
Just
we know
a
a
matter
good
of
cabin to
glassing them
rent.
up. Well, yeah, if they're available, but I wish I still had them.
Yeah.
So had
That'd
some
be
nice
cool.
cabins up there.
Yeah, those were nice cabins.
Yeah.
Good area too, really good area, good deer area, up in there. But yeah, next year's gonna be a lot of fun. So if he gets that, yeah, Jaden won't get a deer tag. We might, like I said, we might get Colorado, but probably not. I'm not even gonna put in for Utah elk next year because we're gonna be in Alaska.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
build a point.
I know the guys want to do a Colorado archery hunt, but I told them, I said, hey, I'm probably out because that Alaska trip's going to take half the month.
Yeah,
I mean, we're probably going to be gone. If we're hunting 10 days up there, we're probably gone 15.
15 days probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a good hunt. So
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm super excited. We talked about it on our bucket list podcast that Chad and I did a while ago. But moose is just now you've already got a moose, so it's not as big a deal for him. But I don't know.
it's still a big deal.
It's still a big deal.
Alaska moose are big. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just We were talking about it because as we were putting all these mounts up.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, how big's that Canada moose you got? And I'm like, I think he's 40 inches wide.
See, he looks so much bigger than that. Like in the pictures,
know.
like he's huge.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's 40.
So if that's 40,
Yeah, and we got to shoot at least a 50-inch wide.
at least a 50.
Yeah.
So
that tells you.
I'm afraid to haul that thing out is what I don't want to do. That's going to be rough.
Flying home, too, with it.
Yeah, flying home is going to be tough too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be expensive to fly it home. Like to fly all that meat home.
All the meat home.
Yeah, that's gonna be. But it's gonna be worth it. I'm so excited to go moose hunting.
Larry was telling me that he was saying something about he'll freeze some of it and fly us home with some of the other stuff, and then he'll ship the rest of it home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have to put it all in.
I don't think we have to take it all at once.
Oh, I mean the antlers alone. Is
Yeah.
Gonna be. Well, actually, the airlines don't they only allow like one or two?
One or two. So we might have to do some type of shipping. I don't know what to figure it out.
If
If you guys have any pointers for us, let us know.
Yeah, if you guys would leave us some comments and let us know what we should do. If you've ever hunted moose in Alaska and shipped them home, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
figure it
have
out.
to do some research on that. But yeah, next year's going to be pretty exciting. There also is a potential of a mountain lion hunt. I kind of alluded to that earlier today, but
This winter?
probably like within like the next couple weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah. Can you get out to Utah or Nevada?
probably.
Could you really?
Oh, dude, you put a hunt out there. I'll figure something out.
So this season's not over yet.
I just got to get a pass from the wife.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool because then we could shoot them with our bows too. So
They hunt them with dogs. Mm-hmm. That'd be fun.
yeah, so Sarah's family, that's what they're all houndsmen.
Oh, are they?
And yeah, I gotta call on my way to your house tonight. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Just gotta be ready when the snow flies, right?
So as soon as the snow flies, it's
That's what,
hop on a plane and get out
so
there.
the outfitter I went with for my first rifle hunt, they do mountain lion hunts down.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he called me and said, hey, because obviously Colorado had the Proposition 127 that failed.
Yeah, I talked
So
about it
they're-
in my last podcast.
So they were
about that.
waiting. They were waiting. He didn't want to book any hunters this year.
Well, no.
If that passed. So as soon as that failed, he put the feelers out there. And he goes, what I do, he goes, I just have a list. And I start calling. As soon as it snows, I start calling the top of the list, and whoever can come.
That's
So he takes them out and does a 5-day hunt. And
it's kind of how it is out there. You know, as soon as the snow flies, come on out. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
add that in here. Another thing we're gonna do while we're in Alaska
Put it up on
next
top
year.
of that safe.
Yeah. we're gonna hunt wolves too next
Oh, yeah,
year.
we're going to get a wolf tag,
So, man, next year could be
grizzly tag,
Oh, it'd be sweet.
$1,000.
That's not that bad, honestly, when you think about it.
Shit, compared to other tags, yeah.
Like
For
if
a
you're-
grizzly,
Yeah, for a grizzly, that's really not that bad. My problem is like I'm so focused on moose.
oh, I know. That's the
like-
problem. Because you hit a grizzly, then you got to take care of that. and everything
Yeah,
else, too.
that's a lot of work to do, and you're wasting your moose days. So I mean, yeah, if the stars align, that you
So
shot
what
your
you do is
moose.
you shoot your moose, get them out, then you come back to the gut pile, wait for the bear to come in.
Exactly. Yeah. So if it worked out like that,
Yeah.
then you'd
Good.
have to have that tag in your pocket
So
ready to go.
Larry told me they had a bear on his moose this year.
Did they?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know. You better be ready.
Dude.
You got your gun?
Yeah.
You got a pistol?
I got a pistol ready to go.
Yeah, he said they came back in to get the rest of his moose, and it was half buried.
Man,
Yeah. So there's definitely grizzlies in the area.
could you imagine coming home from Alaska with a moose, a bear, and a wolf?
Oh, that'd be like the trifecta. That'd be
That
like
would
a
be-
perfect trip.
Dude, epic gets thrown around a lot. The word epic does, but that would be freaking epic.
That would be awesome.
Oh, shoot.
Larry'd be like, I'm never taking you guys again.
Yeah, yeah. We just wrecked Alaska.
No, he's awesome. He's just like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that he's letting us do that. That's a pretty cool find that you found, and I appreciate you being willing to take me with you. And
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
he's a good
that's-
guy. Yeah.
that'll be some really good video, too. We're going to do a really good job video and get some good audio on, well, all the hunts going forward. I mean, Arizona, I'm really looking forward to Arizona. Like,
Yeah.
we'll get
I
some
wanna
good
get back there.
footage. Yeah. Well, this one's going to be fun because it's just me and you. And
I'm hoping our units are open.
yeah. You know what? Even if it's not, I've been doing a lot of e-scouting on Onyx, and
There's some other places.
I think there's some good places that we can go that's not that far from where we're staying.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be okay. I also might have as a hookup too, by the
yeah?
way. Yeah. Because one of the people I work with, they own property where we're going.
Oh,
it's
really?
actually just down the street from where you and I are staying.
Oh.
It's
wow.
backed by a bunch of BLM. So
Oh, okay.
we might have a little hookup.
Another spot to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Arizona's gonna be fun. So you guys make sure you're subscribed to the pod or the YouTube channel. One that helps me a lot with eHunter. You guys don't realize how big one subscriber is to YouTube. So I really appreciate if you guys would go and subscribe to that. But really investing a lot in our video footage. It gets better and better each time. I'm not to the Brian Call level yet.
No, yeah, we're definitely amateurs.
But we're getting there, and it's just fun to honestly to have it cataloged and stuff that we can go back. I'll go back and watch our New Zealand hunt all the time. Footage isn't the best, but it's just fun to go back and relive it and see those experiences. So make sure you guys are subscribed to that. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Chad, appreciate you jumping on a podcast with me again.
Yeah, man, it was awesome.
This was fun.
Glad you came out.
This is a whole lot easier, right?
Oh, I know, way better than trying to do it over the phone or anything else.
Yeah, just sit here in the man cave and chat. So pretty much every time I come out here, we just have to plan on doing a podcast.
Yeah, I know, we're gonna have to for sure.
Chad's been gracious enough to let me sleep at his house tonight, so that way I don't have to go clear back to Denver.
Well, and you're picking up some elk meat.
yeah, he's giving me some elk meat. So
Yep.
that's the word to the wise, guys. Get you a friend that wants to give you game meat. That's a good friend to have. So, all right, guys, we'll sign off again. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think of the podcast. Any suggestions on moose in Alaska and getting those back? I'd really like to hear some
Yeah, that's
comments
gonna
on
be.
that.
We're gonna have to do some research on that.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal. But we'll sign off. Appreciate you guys checking this out, and stay tuned for the next one. See you guys.